What was that like? Seeing all? Who did you see there growing up?
Okay, well, I used to book Freddie Roman, and I saw Richard Belzer, and there was comedians Larry Best and Van Harris and Joe Morrow. I mean, I saw the best comics, and my favorite was Malzy Lawrence. There was no one better than Mal Lawrence. I mean, Dick Capri. So these comics, the reason they were so amazing, as opposed to comics that don't come out of the Catskills, the people go to the Catskills. They get 3 meals a day, and as a waiter, we would stuff them so much, and then. Because the more we stuffed them, the more they ate, the bigger tip they give you at the end of the week. So, like Mal Lawrence said, you want a side, what do you want for dinner, ma'am? I'll have a piece of chicken. I'll have a side of the steak, a side of a lamb chop.
Oh, God.
Just a side of a baked potato. I don't want the whole thing, just a side, and, you want a side of an elephant, I mean, they just wanted to eat and eat, not a whole thing, don't get me. And then these people, they would eat, and then they would walk out of the dining room, and they all had napkins around the desserts and the breads, and it was called filet food because they were afraid that they would miss a meal. So that was food for later. Yeah. And it started at 6 o'clock in the morning with the tea room, and they would get coffee, and then they would get a donut and a Danish and everything like that. Then they went to breakfast, and breakfast you had, every kind of omelet in the world, and anything you wanted on that menu. It was just unbelievable. Then the tea room was open again. Because they can get more Danishes and little Danishes instead. They're little cute ones. And then lunch. Then they had lunch. And then afternoon they would try to take a nap because they were in a food coma. And then the tea room was open again. And then they went to dinner, and dinner was amazing. I just want a side of a steak, a side of an elephant, And so all these people ate. Now, you're a comic. You got to get up there at night, and you got to entertain these people at 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
So first the singer would go on for a half hour. Then the comic would go on. Now, these people sat back, and they were afraid to laugh. Why? Because all the food would come out. So they were afraid to laugh. So they looked at the stage and said, okay, I dare you to make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. I dare you to make me laugh. So these comics had to come up, and it was shtick. That was so different than a normal ticket when you go to a show and you buy a ticket and you're ready to laugh. So Larry Best, the comic, he came out, and one of his favorite lines was, all of a sudden these chiclets would come out of it. He said, welcome everybody to my favorite hotel, and look at a note and say, oh, the Concord Hotel. It was like a joke because they did shows every night. Yeah. And then the next thing, all of a sudden these chiclets came out of his mouth. He said, oh, I'm sorry. I just came from the dentist and I had a bad day, And the stuff that these guys created, the funny, and the women, Jeannie Reynolds, it was just amazing. It was just, the comedy was amazing.
What hotel were you working at?
I worked at the Lake House and the Pioneer, but I would go see the shows at Grossinger's and the Raleigh and Gilbert's and all those, and the same comics worked. They worked so that's how I started my business, really, in the music business was, I worked for a company called Charlie Rapp, and they would go to Freddie Roman and say, Freddie or Henny Youngman, we'll give you 50 shows at X amount of dollars for a 10-week period from July 4th to Labor Day. And you have to do these shows no matter where we send you. So they would get a guarantee of the shows, and they would work. And they would have you open at the Concord for Tom Jones on a Saturday night, and then afterwards you'd run to a bungalow colony, and you'd work in a bungalow colony when they were half drunk, and, it was a different audience. And they would work to hotels, to bungalow colonies, to strip bars, wherever they could get booked. The rap office would book them. Not really strip bars, but basically places where they would just send them to do a daytime show. Now, these comics had to get laughs. And Tom Jones saw them, and Engelbert Humperdinck saw them, and Diana Ross saw them, open up for them. And they ended up taking them on the road because they were so funny. Right. And as opposed to, again, you buy a ticket to see a comic, you laugh because you paid for a ticket, whether he's funny or not. You're going to laugh.
All right. We got to get into you because there's so much success there. First of all, what did mom and dad do for a living? I want to understand where
Dad was a cantor in the Catskills.
Oh,
the Catskills. Dad was a cantor. I was talking so much Catskills.
My uncle was a cantor.